Welcome to the podcast. The Aging Queen. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. And welcome back to the Aging Queen podcast. My name is Louis Canetti, and I have our regular special guests, James from Columbus, Ohio, and Robert from Madrid, Spain. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back. What have you guys been up to? Rob?
I just saw the first movie of the Planet of the Apes at a friend's house, and
What? The first one?
yeah, the first one back in the 60s, 68, I believe. I forget. But oh my goodness,
Charlton
it was
Heston.
so good with Charlton Heston,
Yes.
and like now I
Classic.
understand the Simpsons references, So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm piecing all the puzzle pieces together.
What
So
made you watch the original?
I have a friend of mine who's a huge movie buff, and he's kind
Mm.
of annoyed at him always making references, and I have no idea what he's talking about because I haven't seen XYZ movies. So he's like, okay, once a week, you're going to come over and you're going to learn. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to school you on movies that you should have seen. So this week it was Planet of the Apes. Last
This
week
is
it
a good
was
friend.
Star Wars.
He's
Yeah.
like literally enriching you.
Oh, yeah. I'm learning a
Um,
lot, and
no,
I'm
I
loving
totally
it.
understand that. Yes, because I feel like there are some movies that are. I feel like everyone should just see. I mean,
Right.
and
Yeah,
because there's so many different sort of like cultural sayings that come from those movies. I mean, just like like Planet
Red
of the
Rum,
Apes.
The Shining. Yeah.
Exactly. Get your stinking paws off me.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's just like yeah, that movie was so awesome. And Star
Please,
Wars, of course. Yes.
please tell me you've seen Police Academy.
No. What's that?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Is that where they're on a plane?
No, that was from the
James,
80s.
please take over. This
I
is, I mean,
okay, so
wow.
Police Academy was a comedy. It was from the 80s. It
Oh.
was
Chevy
it's
Chase?
no, it's
Okay.
Steve Guttenberg is in it.
Oh.
Hilarious.
It's a really funny movie. But
This
it's
is
kind
where
of
I
weird
saw
like
my first gay bar on TV, the Blue
the Blue
Oyster.
Oyster. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I haven't seen it in years, but
it's the
yes,
best.
it's such a good movie.
And you haven't seen Private Benjamin with Goldie Hawn?
Oh my goodness, that's also
No.
a good one.
What's
I
that?
have a list. I have a list. What about
You need
Short
to send me
Circuit?
that.
Oh
Full
man,
Circuit? No.
Short
Short
Circuit
Circuit.
with Johnny
No.
Five.
No.
You're
Who?
bringing back all these memories. Oh
Are you
man, these
kidding
are
me?
such good movies.
Where were
Louis,
you in
you
the
need to make a
80s?
list.
Where were you in the 80s, my friend?
I
Yeah,
was born
these.
in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Okay, guys, listeners, this is our young pup, buck, whatever we
Ew.
want to call him,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
exactly what our show is about today. Our episode's about labels in the gay community. In the bears and twinks and twunks.
Oh my.
So yeah, oh my, there's a whole forest full of animals. So as many of our listeners know, we three are basically bearish.
Hmm.
I would say. I mean, I had my twink days, but they're kind of gone. Um, what do you guys feel about these labels? What do you think? They're positive, they're negative, or just descriptive?
Honestly, I feel
Mm,
like they are what you make of them. Like
mm,
I was kind of trying to look up some, additional labels while while I was kind of waiting a few minutes ago, and I found one that said, for instance, like, yes, I might be considered a bear because obviously I am not a small person and I have plenty of hair, body hair, and but also because my beard is pretty salt and pepper. It's more salt these days than pepper.
mm,
I found that apparently because of that, that I would be considered a grizzly bear, which
mm,
I've never heard
which
of that one.
I've never heard of that either. And I thought, well, that's fascinating, you know. But then also, of course, like because of my age, um, I've been approached in, casual situations by yeah, I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, daddy." And I
mm,
just kind of laugh because, I'm just like, man, I'm at daddy age,
mm.
like what, like, but it wasn't,
No.
like for me, none of these terms are offensive, it's just
When
kind
did
of
you
like,
first hear
yeah.
daddy? Or when did you first get
Um,
called daddy?
I would say probably 40, and that's only because I had more. That was when I was starting to really get more gray hair in my beard.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I think I was around 36. It was a little traumatizing because "What? I'm not daddy, and I'm not your daddy." It's,
Right.
it makes you feel it makes you realize there's a whole 'nother generation coming up behind you when you're
It
now the daddy,
it takes a moment. It really does take a moment to get used to that. Like, like I remember talking to a friend of mine who he's very much twinkish. He's a smaller guy. And I remember when had turned 40 and I looked at him and I said, "Am I a daddy now?" And he just kind
Yeah.
of laughed and he was kind of like, "Do you want to be?" And I was like, "I don't, like I don't feel like I have a choice in this matter. So, um,
What's an otter? I know what an otter is. So someone give me the definition of an otter.
It's what you feel on the inside. No, someone who likes to swim? I have no idea. Maybe it's like a skinny, hairy guy?
It's a
yes,
skinny, hairy
it's
guy.
a skinny
That's
hairy
what it
guy.
is. That's
Yes.
what it is.
Has
What's a
nothing to do
wolf?
with swimming? I don't know. A wolf. Big
I
beard guy?
just saw that. I just saw that definition like 10 minutes ago and I was like, "What is that?"
It's not used pretty
No.
frequently.
Yeah,
No.
I'm
Otters
not
are, but
familiar.
No.
okay, so it says similar to otter, a wolf has some hair and is between a twink and a bear. However, there are some key differences between wolves and otters. Wolves typically have a lean, muscular build and are sexually aggressive. This is an explanation from Attitude magazine. Attitude says wolves are typically older and masculine with a muscular, athletic build.
Mm,
Wow. Okay,
okay.
we
Like
need to go to
Wolverine.
wolf bars, huh?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, it's because obviously you never hear wolf. So
No,
I don't know of anyone who would describe themselves as
they're
a
just
wolf.
aggressive otters, I guess.
I like wolf t-shirts. I think they're fine. Remember those?
No.
I
Oh,
don't. I'm sorry.
oh. I used to have them at Walmart all the time. Wolf t-shirts.
Like
Where? What?
like a picture of a wolf
Yeah,
on
Just
them?
like
a
a
wolf?
picture of a wolf howling at the moon and was like,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yes,
like a
yes. I've seen
werewolf.
those. Yes. Not a werewolf, just an
no,
actual
no
wolf.
human involved, like an animal wolf.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
Lord.
regular wolf. I've seen those. Yes.
What
those are nice.
about a bull?
A
Do you
bull?
guys know what this one is?
No.
That's also one that's not used
At
much.
least
Oh,
in my circles, it's not you.
Hunky, muscular bodybuilder who weighs over 200 pounds or more. Shit, I weigh over 200 pounds. It's
I'm
like
gonna say I also weigh over 200 pounds, but
uh,
I would not consider myself a bull. I wouldn't.
the-
I don't think I'd want to be called a bull.
I think
Yeah.
these men are big, strong, and have muscles you didn't even know existed. That's what Pride.com says.
Oh, well,
Um,
Hmm.
I don't hang around muscular types, so I have no
yeah.
idea.
What are some other labels describe gay men that you've encountered? Um,
First thing I was called was jailbait.
my God,
Well,
when I went to New York, I started out as an actor,
hmm
and I got my first headshot. And the photographer called me a cub after seeing a couple of stills that he took. He says, "You're a cub." I
hmm
had no idea what this was.
yeah.
Oh.
This is almost basically pre-internet. And it took me a while. Then, after coming out, and this is pre-coming out also, I didn't realize there was, a baby bear, younger bear. I guess because I was a little overweight, and that's why he called me a cub. But hey, maybe the guy had foresight. So that was
I
my. I was probably 19, 20.
I
That's
know
all.
that when I used to work at a bookstore here in Columbus, and we had a lot of gay clientele that would come in and buy books and movies and DVDs and stuff like that. And um, one of the guys, he was a really sweet guy. He would come in with his husband all the time, and his husband came up to me one day, and he was just like, my husband has a little crush on you, and I was just like, what?
Oh.
And and he said, "Yeah, he even wrote about you in his blog." And I was like, "What
What?
did he write about me in his blog?"
What?
And so of course he called his husband over, and his husband just turns red. And it's just like, like, I can't believe you're making me say this. And I was like, "Well, what did you say?" And he said, "Well, I just said, the cutest little brown bear helped me out in the bookstore the other day. And I just kind of laughed because I was like, that, I'd never been called that before. And then, of course, like several of my coworkers were gay. And of course, that just became their nickname for me, Little Brown Bear, while I worked there. So
Oh my
That's funny.
to the point where for 1 year for my birthday, they actually bought me one of those, those Build-A-Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah, they bought me a Build-A-Bear for my
Oh
birthday that
wow.
I still have.
Well, that's cute though.
And the bear says wolf,
Oh.
which is something I still don't understand. Why do bears wolf?
Like WOOF?
Yes, that's something like
Hmm.
here, and I don't know if they do it in Spain, but here in the United States, bears wolf when they,
Or they, yeah.
yeah, like when
Or
they,
they
like,
growl.
you like they don't growl. That's the thing. Like if they find you attractive, they will say wolf.
They
Oh,
just
I
say
know.
the
Yeah,
word woof.
Yeah,
Oh,
but the actual bear doesn't wolf.
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
A real bear does not wolf, but a gay bear,
Well, what animal wolfs? A
dogs.
wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dog. A dog
Yeah.
wolf. Right.
Huh.
So, yeah, I never understood that. I never understood why a gay bear will wolf at you if they find you attractive.
Maybe it's broken bear.
No
Turned
one's
it.
ever
Yeah,
woofed at me, and I don't know how I would feel if that happened to me face to face in public. Ooh, I don't know.
I have experienced that in public, and it's kind of strange because you're kind of like, what?
Yeah. You know, in the movie Home Alone, where
Mhm.
Macaulay Culkin goes through his brother's photos and finds a picture of the brother's girlfriend and he says, woof,
Yeah,
meaning that she's not attractive.
yeah,
Like,
Right. But that's
yeah.
more like wolf, like almost
But
like
it's
they're
but it's the
throwing up.
complete opposite. Like
right.
if you were to go to a gay bar in the United States and were to be hit on by a bear, there's a chance that someone might say woof to you depending on their level of sobriety. you
Huh.
know, I can't really say, or online most certainly they might say woof. Um, but I like it's not something that I would
Maybe
say.
someone's passing you in the hallway or in the bar and they go, "Woof," you know?
Yeah, don't do that in
No,
Spain. In Spain,
no,
it's just hola guapo, or, well, people call each other guapo and guapa here all the time. It doesn't mean that they're handsome or pretty or anything like that, but it's just a term, not even a term of endearment. But when someone says hola guapo in a bar setting, yeah, I think they're trying to say hello to you in a hello, hello kind of way.
right. And here I know, like, I would prefer that they would say hello, hello,
Mm,
or something like that. I mean, but then again, it's a bar. People do all kinds of things. Like
mm.
you might very well get the, hello. Like I feel like the creepiest one that I ever got was actually I was 19 years old in a gay bar in Johnson City, Tennessee, of all
Ooh,
places, my very first gay bar. And I remember I was there with a guy and this man who was a much older man. I would say he's probably in his 40s, who took his hand and lightly went from my right shoulder. He slid his hand across my back and rested it on my left shoulder and then said hello. And I was like, I just cringed.
no,
I was absolutely cringed. I was like, ah,
no,
no. Like in my
Wow.
mind, I'm like,
no.
don't touch me.
Yeah, no consent
Unwanted.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yes.
to add some names here, we also have, let me go through this list: Pup, Twink, Twunk, Hunk, Geek, Dolphin, Chub, Jim Bunny,
I'm sorry, a
Jim,
dolphin?
What's a dolphin?
I don't know. Then we
What?
also have, I don't know what Auntie is,
I
and
mean, I
then
know what an auntie is.
What's
a
that?
polar bear.
Okay.
That's a silver fox. It's the same thing, right?
And I was gonna say an auntie's like because I saw it right before logging on here. An auntie is an older gay man who tends to be a little bit more feminine,
I
um,
thought that was a
who's
queen.
kind of like, like the sort of sassy
Bitchy.
older
Yeah.
gay person that you might know who knows all of the who knows, I guess I was gonna say all the tea, but
Maybe.
all the gossip usually. So that's
Mm.
fine.
And it says here that, have you heard of the word prawn?
No. What's
I
that?
was gonna say only for dinner.
What it says some people use this for a guy with a great body, an 8-pack, but an ugly face. Now they're just being mean.
That's
That's
mean.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mean.
I
Yeah.
mean, labels are tools, and we should use them for good, and we should also use them how we want to.
Right.
But I don't know.
You're gonna start calling me a prawn, aren't you, Rob?
No, never. Only when you get sunburnt.
Well, I don't have an 8-pack anyway, so or an ugly face, so I am no prawn.
We're all
Oh,
gorgeous here.
yes,
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
some of these labels and terms, they're quite funny. They I don't know, they help kind of categorize things quickly. But
I was
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say I definitely like when you said Snow Queen, I was gonna say I've heard of that for sure because
What is a snow queen?
when I moved to San Francisco in the early 2000s, um, they use terms like that to describe people, kind of like. So I want to say Snow Queen were people who liked white people who like white men. So, for instance, there was Rice Queen, Snow
Oh my
Queen,
god.
or Potato Queen. Um,
Ooh.
um,
What's
and
potato queen?
the same thing. It was usually potato queens were usually
Irish
just to,
people?
no, they were usually to describe Asian people who liked white people. In San
What?
Oh,
Francisco, there was a huge population of gay Asian men who really liked white gay men,
right.
and vice versa. So a lot of times they would use those terms like rice queen to describe someone who was really,
I've heard
like,
that before.
Asian people, or potato or snow queen, who liked white people.
Well, I've heard chasers. There's chasers of all types, for instance.
Yes. I will say, like, being in that environment, because I remember at one point in time, my friends and I used to hang out at an Asian gay bar in San Francisco, and it was really fascinating to see the people in there because, of course, it would be predominantly Asian people, and then it would be people who were specifically looking for Asian men, So you would have these like young Asian men, and then you would have these older white men who were there, which was it was just a really kind of fascinating sort of
Upsetting.
like,
Hmm.
You
uh,
would call them
group.
Gaysians, right?
Yeah, yeah. Some of them do go by Gaysian, yes.
And then we got other terms like gamer, which is a gay person who plays video games.
Like
Gay person.
GAYMER.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
lots of them.
There's
Lots of
lots of
it.
gamers now.
Hmm.
Mm.
Have you heard futch?
Stop trying to make fudge happen.
So
No.
futch is
What is it?
between femme and butch. So
Oh,
feminine
fudge.
butch.
Oh,
She's futch.
You
foot.
know what's hilarious? Like, one of my exes referred to those people as a blouse.
Oh, a feminine top. Yeah.
Yes, a feminine top. Yes, yes.
We love a blouse.
Yes.
My.
When I had heard that, I was like, "That is hilarious. I've never heard this before." And ever since then, I'm just like, "Yep, that's funny."
Ooh, this one is going to blow your mind. Cottaging.
Cottaging?
Of course, this had to come out of the UK.
Okay, that
Is that
like,
hooking up in places you
Uh,
shouldn't?
yes. Ding, 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 ding.
is it really?
You get a
Yeah.
reward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I would never would have guessed that, but all right.
It's having relations in a public toilet in the
Oh,
UK,
yeah. I've
which is
never done it, but I've heard of it, and I
yeah.
used to live in the UK, so
Gonna say I've never had relations in a public toilet in the UK.
no,
Well,
I've never done that.
I
it's
was gonna say other countries, we that's another conversation, but in the UK, no.
stop it. All right, let's see, what do we got? We got Butch Queen.
Mhm.
Butch Queen realness.
What's
Yep.
good? What's Butch Queen? Queen. That
Sorry,
is
I'm sorry, your slip was pretty funny, Butch Green.
a gay male who presents as a gay male, neither as trans individual, no, nor heteronormative. This mostly refers to someone who looks the part of what mostly identify as gay. That comes out of the ball culture.
Hmm.
Um, all right, so there's some really intriguing labels here in this list.
Are there any labels you don't like?
Well, that brings us to What do you guys think about queer?
I'm fine with it. I embrace that term.
Yeah, me too. I think there's a big umbrella of terminology, and have you seen the series Community, where
Yes,
the dean or the principal of the college, the dean is a characteristic of a very queer person, and he's like, no, I'm not gay. Gay doesn't even begin to describe how I am. And it's just a running gag about how queer he is, and how it's queer for me just as back in the day was a slur, and it still is.
that's what I'm
But
saying. I grew up with basically knowing that word as it being
negative.
negative. If
Yeah.
someone called you queer and when you were in school,
Hmm.
that wasn't a positive thing, and
Oh no, I
so I
was
still
definitely
get
the
a little
victim of smear
cringy.
the queer game. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
true because I mean I know for me, I feel like queer is just a nice umbrella
Yeah.
because for instance, like I describe myself as queer because I've told people all my life, like, listen, I don't know who I'm going to end up with. Like for me, I'm not necessarily what's between your legs is not what's going to determine, my attractiveness to you. I tend to
mhm,
look at the person as a whole. So
that's great.
like I
HOLE.
Joelle,
I know,
but
I thought about that.
but at the same time, so like like I initially I came out. I mean, actually, I came out as bi initially, but then that tends to be a very confusing
We all
subject.
came out as bi, at least for me.
Right. Well,
Not
it's
me, but I understand why.
You were
right.
born gay, honey.
Well, but
Hella.
at the same time, it's kind of like
We're all
when you
born.
do that, like people are like, you need to pick a side, and it's kind of
Hmm.
like, but really, but what if I do like this person? So,
Yeah, I
for
don't
instance,
think you
like
gotta pick a
right,
side. It's
like
what you are.
what if I like a trans man, or what if
Right.
I like, a cisgendered male, or what if I like this trans woman? It's just kind of like, to say that I'm just gay is kind of limiting.
It's
Right.
very
So
limiting.
that's why I'll just say, okay, I'm queer because
Well, I think labels can be limiting, you
it's
know,
true.
also. For instance, sometimes it's also like joining a community. So bears have their own community. But if you don't fall exactly into that descriptive label per se, and you're just a little overweight, but you're hairless, then are you still a bear? Will the
You're a
bears let
schlub.
you into their community? So sometimes it can alienate people,
But
these
honestly,
labels.
I feel like your community is it's your friends. I
Right,
mean, so like for instance, like I have friends of all the different classifications, and I
right,
can't imagine any of them would say, okay, you've lost weight, well, you're not my friend anymore because you're not a bear. you
right,
know
but birds of a feather flock together. We all know this.
not I mean, not always. I mean,
Oh, well, I mean,
yes, I will
I've
say
rarely seen a jock with a bear
you would have
or
I do.
I was gonna say you would have loved my dinner last night because I had dinner with two friends.
uh-huh.
Um, my one friend, he's slightly older than me. I think he's like 53. So he's 5 or 6 years, however, I forget. Either way, he is in the gym every single day.
Yeah.
He has always been incredibly fit. He's always, at one point in time, he was like a dancer. He was a gymnast. Like he is the person at the bar that people are constantly trying to touch and get with. And then of course there was me, and then there
I love how you said that. You're like, "Of
I was
course,
like, there's
there's
me.
me
I look
in the
nothing like
corner
him.
crying."
Like he's very much like, oh, no, I'm not in the corner crying. Like
I'm joking.
I love my friend. He's very much like a muscle. I would call him like a muscle daddy for sure. Um, and the other friend, of course, he was a younger guy, but he's a little bigger. So I don't really quite know, but he doesn't have a lot of. I'm assuming he doesn't have a lot of hair, so he's not really like a bear. But we just make an interesting like a trio, and it's. But then like we hang out with several different types of pet, like people who are bigger than us, people who are smaller than us,
Right.
people who have more hair. It's just kind of, I feel like we're pretty open.
Mhm.
Um, but you are right in that there are a lot of groups of friends who are very similar.
I always see jocks together. They don't, I mean,
Yes.
maybe they'll go with a skinny person, but jocks are usually hanging out or dating other jocks or gym bunny slash gym rats, which is fine, you know. They put in the work to be in shape, and that's what they are and what they're looking for. I
Not
just think, you
always.
know, it's
Right,
funny how
exactly.
sometimes these labels are also to discriminate, you know, and to ostracize, because if
Mm.
you're not a jock, they because online dating's like this, you know,
Ugh.
looking for jocks
Mm.
only, you know.
No fats, no femmes, no
Right.
this, no
Well,
that.
what if we
Exactly.
really connected and, you know, you like my face, and the gym can always they can help with the other stuff. But I think it's limiting to have they're fun. Listen, some of these labels are fun, but
Mhm.
some labels can hurt, ostracize, and also keep you away from building maybe a really good life with someone that you know, previously wouldn't have even looked at, you know, but now you're just saying, I just want to talk to, you know, X, to jocks or bears. I don't know. That's my POV on that.
I mean, part of me kind of has, I know for me personally, with age, I have become more open-minded. Like, I look back at myself when I was, in my late 20s and just moved to San Francisco, and I thought, man, I was so naive and and not, I don't want to say I was closed-minded, but there were certain things that I saw that I was like, oh, that's disgusting. And
Yeah.
now, at the age of 47, I'm just kind of like, people just do what you want, do what makes you happy. Like if
Right.
you like feet, great,
Yeah.
fantastic, but know that not everybody's going to like feet, and you have to accept that.
Right.
So I feel like I've gotten to a point in life where I'm more accepting of myself and of other people, and of people's likes and dislikes, and I know that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm fine with that, you know.
You could be the world's biggest, juiciest peach, and there's still gonna be someone that says, "I don't like peaches." So, just be yourself,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
I agree.
Right.
You can't win them all over. And, you know, if I guess you really like jocks, and, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. You know, be a jock, I guess.
I mean, if that's what you want to be.
If that's what you
Exactly.
want to. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've definitely known plenty of couples where I don't wanna be mean, but plenty of couples that and I call them 10s, not
Hmm.
because they're, 10s, 10s, 10s across the board, but it's because one is the number 1, the other is the number 0.
Oh,
So
Lord.
big
It's
guys
not even
going for
mathematically
skinny
correct.
guys.
If you add
And
1 plus 0 is 0.
it what's the terminology I should use? Not mixed orientation, but, like, mixed type, I
Mixed
guess, where
No,
label?
I I totally understand, because I tend to like, most of my boyfriends are not the same type as me. Like I tend to
Mhm.
like smaller guys. So usually, for instance, like my last boyfriend, for instance, I'm 5'11", he was 5'6", and he was an Asian guy, so he's this little Asian guy, and I'm, this big I mean,
Big
I don't want to
burly
say big
grizzly
big
bear.
big burly grizzly bear, but that's also the type of man that he likes. He
Right.
likes black
We all have our
bears,
preferences, yeah.
right? So,
No, and that's respectable. I guess my rant was more directed towards, like, online dating, like what Rob
Yeah.
was saying. Sometimes it can go really badly and get negative,
Mhm.
and, you know, no
true.
femmes, no fats, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh
And
Those
boy."
people need to get blocked.
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like we've all experienced that, like I guess people have their, well, people can just be stupid and mean.
I
Period.
think the meanest comments I've ever gotten have been from the community, as have been from gay people. You know, I remember at this bar in DC when I was going to college, and for no reason, I was being nice, but I guess he was just jealous of me. This guy looked at my Puma, kind of like I don't know, it was like one of these zipper um, jackets,
Hmm.
and he goes, I didn't think Puma made things in your size.
Ugh.
And mind you, I wasn't fat. I was probably like 190 pounds at 6 foot. Like I was, probably not in the best shape, but I wasn't fat. And I
But
was in
that's
college.
that's that person showing their insecurity about their weight.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he was just trying to be sassy about it, and I played it off. But it's been 26 years later. I'm still talking about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes we as gays can be our own worst enemies to ourselves out of
Hmm.
insecurities too.
Yep.
No, it's true. I mean, I feel like we all have had experiences like that. Like I remember I had a friend once who um we we referred to each other as faux boyfriends because essentially we did everything that boyfriends would do, but he told me once, he said the reason why we are not actually dating is because you're not pretty enough for me.
What?
Wow. Yeah.
What?
Yes,
Yeah.
he actually
What?
said that to my face and I was just like,
What?
wow,
What does
you
pretty
know?
mean in that sense? Does he like pretty young things or what? Like,
He did, yes. He does like pretty young things for
ew.
sure. And it
I
was
mean, I
just
had a
like,
friend of mine that said if you were skinny, we'd be dating. I mean, it's the same.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, people don't really realize how their words affect others,
Right.
because
They may
they
say it as like yeah, I don't know why that person would say that to you because being pretty is in the first in the eye of the beholder, but
right, exactly.
it's
Like I have had plenty of boyfriends in the past. I have been married once. And in my mind I'm kind of like
you're a catch, my friend.
well, thank you.
yeah.
That's very sweet of you both. I appreciate it. But it's one of those things like when you hear things like that, like you said, I mean, that was literally said to me, I want to say in like 2005. And
Yeah.
I still remember it,
I think we need to be nicer to each
you
other,
know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You never know what other people are going through.
right?
Oh yeah.
So we're all in this journey together. So being kind to one each other is nice. I mean, obviously, being if you're deep friends with someone and you have a little bitch session or you have, you're kikiing and you're ranting and raving about different things, yeah, go off.
Of
But,
course.
Yeah,
when it
listen,
comes
we all
to
have the
being
sassy
mean,
gene,
I
Of
don't know.
course.
and it can be quite fun, but the other person has to be in on the joke, or
Yeah,
playing with you.
Right. Exactly.
unless it's really funny. If it's
Yeah,
really funny, then go for it. But if you're just being mean to be mean and it's not
right.
funny, I don't know, don't go for it. Just
you, you
buy a
know
journal, write it down, and keep it to yourself.
Well,
honestly,
attacking other people's like blatant insecurities, because if someone's a little pudgy, that they're always kind of watching their weight so they don't get fatter. So
Right. It's
attacking that, I think it's a low blow.
right. It's not like I woke up this morning and was like, "Oh, wow, I'm magically twice my body weight or anything." It's like I know
Right.
I'm a bigger person, or I was,
right,
but I know my weight, I know my size.
right.
Uh,
Or
you bringing it up doesn't mean much. Like, I'm sure
yeah, it
James
makes them feel better though.
people are like, "Oh my god, you're so tall." And then you're just like, duh. I know."
But like
Honestly, I was gonna say,
mentioning someone's baldness, for instance, I mean that's a low
Oh,
blow.
yeah.
yeah.
There's some certain things that you just can't discuss
I
or
mean,
joke about.
honestly, I feel like at this stage in my life, I just remove myself from the situation. Like if I
Yeah,
if I feel that I'm around a negative person, I leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to
I
I don't want to be around that.
that's the beauty of
Like,
aging. Yeah,
it's kind of like cuz and I feel like that is the beauty of aging because you realize, yeah, I'm having a good time and all of a sudden, this negative person walks in and you're just like, "You know what? Now that I'm not having a good time, I'm leaving."
yep.
I'm gonna go find my good time. I'm not gonna stick around and then have this one person ruin my night, you
right.
know?
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, I
Be-
think also when we were younger, we stuck around with the friend group even
Right.
if it wasn't like a good time that night.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
that's
we were
true.
lonely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Now,
nowadays, I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm going. I'm
Yeah.
peace out."
it really is like, I'm not feeling this, guys. I'm out, you know.
Yeah.
And
I'm
and
protecting my
honestly,
peace. Yeah.
yeah, like and if you're really good friends, you can just give
I
a
get
look
it.
and they understand.
They'll see you
Like,
tomorrow.
yeah, like I know I've been in certain situations where I just looked at my friend and my friend was like, "All right, let's go," because
Exactly.
because he could see I was not having it.
Hmm.
So that.
Yeah, but when you're young and you go out with a certain amount of friends, and
Hmm.
even though there's some toxic things going on, you stick around, you go to the next bar together, and then at the end
Right.
of the day, you're having a miserable time, and you just had to like battle through all these future traumas now. So yeah, get yourself out of there if you're not having fun, or learning at least.
Well,
'Cause
now, I mean, I guess
some situations you learn from, but not.
ever since the pandemic, the big push has been for like better mental health, or
Mm.
for everyone. And I feel like this definitely falls under
Yes.
under that, like where you just, why be in a negative situation? Why be around people who are constantly putting you down? Like you
Yep.
need to be around people who are going to lift you up, who are going to,
Yes.
give you positive feelings and positive feedback, just or positive experiences. Like, honestly, life is too short to be
Oh,
around negative
oh
people
yeah.
like that. Really.
Yeah,
That's
we
my
we
preference.
Yeah.
yeah.
Positive people.
Gotta
Yeah.
get rid of toxic people, toxic traits, and bad habits in general. I think we all have them, and sometimes we swap one for another. You know, I'm dealing with that right now. I quit smoking almost 2 years ago, but it's made me eat a little bit more and dive into the sugar products. And dude, not anymore. I'm eliminating that from my diet
It's
because
like
it's another addiction.
sugar is my downfall. I just had labs done the other day because I always have my labs done before I go see my doctor, because
Mhm.
that way we have something to talk about. So I'm gonna go see my doctor soon for my annual checkup, and so I had my labs done, and sugar
Mhm.
every
Yeah,
single
it's
time.
everywhere. They
you
put
know.
it in everything though. So
hmm
it's in the weirdest places that you're like, "Whoa, how does that have sugar?" It's if salt, yeah, it's with
I will
sugar.
s- Honestly, I will say that is the one thing that I love about traveling in Europe, is the fact that there is less sugar in everything. Like,
Less
I feel,
processed too.
yeah, like, here, like, I purposely, for instance, I buy bread that doesn't have sugar in it,
God,
because
that's so
What?
yeah, that's one of those places.
yes,
Why would you put sugar in bread? It
Wait,
makes
yes,
there's sugar-free bread in the US? How is
yeah.
yes.
what?
I buy a bread. It is sugar-free wheat bread, and it says it on the label. It is
What?
sugar-free
I've never
wheat
heard of
bread,
that.
because
What?
all the other bread has sugar in it. And it's weird because I can now taste it. Like, I
Mm,
love sugar, but there are certain things that I really don't want to taste sugar in.
mm.
Like, if I'm making a sandwich, I don't want to taste sugar in my bread. Like, when I
Well,
go
that's
and get,
why when you
yeah.
travel abroad, food tastes for a few days tastes weird because we're used
Oh
to,
yeah, yeah, because we're used to
eating.
sugar being in everything.
Yeah,
You know.
sugar and tons of salt.
Yeah,
There's that's why high blood pressure is also a huge deal here because everything is just they feel like in order to get you addicted to their products, they have to pump it full of sugar and salt.
that's why when I come back from Europe, I'm always sad, because for one, I've probably lost weight while I was there, just because, for one, I'm eating healthier food, I'm walking more, um, and I most certainly am eating less sugar. And so when I
And the
come
portion
home,
sizes, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then I come home and I'm just like, all right, well, I'm back. Everything's got sugar, so
Mhm.
here we
And
go.
it's
You know,
like yeah, dodging minefields here at the
yeah,
supermarket. And I love stores like Whole Foods or organic stuff, but they're just everything's
way more
so
expensive.
expensive
Yes,
now. Yeah,
Well,
it's
even regular grocery stores are expensive,
yes,
so
it's true.
oof.
Like,
right.
honestly, I go to the farmers market every now and then. It's funny, like, I buy most of my meat from the
Mhm.
farmers market. It's like I can just
It's
get it
probably
straight.
healthier.
Yeah, I love it because I feel like it is healthier, but I haven't, like other groceries. Obviously, I still go to the grocery store. So, I still, and I openly admit that I'm addicted to sugar. I always have ice cream in my freezer. Always.
Oh, ice cream is damn good.
Yes.
You're a
Always.
sugar chaser.
I am. I
That's your
am.
new label. You're a sugar chaser.
Oh man, I don't have to run far, luckily.
It's in that fridge. That
It's in
fridge.
the fridge. It's in my house.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for joining in on this conversation, today's episode on labels. We'll have more of these episodes talking about labels because there's so many labels to discuss that I'm sure we'll bring you back for those episodes. Thank you for joining me. And as always, if you like our episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.